Hello everyone, I'm Hilal Yilmaz and we're going to spend a few minutes together. Today we're looking at a question that's both very complicated and very heartbreaking for millions of Kurds. Why, after all this time, is there still no Kurdistan on the map? Let's get started. Okay, first let's talk a little bit about where they live. The Kurdish homeland is a land of amazing beauty, but it's also incredibly tough. We're talking about huge, steep mountain ranges like the Taurus and Zagros. These mountains gave them shelter and protected Kurdish culture from harsh conditions, but they also divided the Kurdish people, making it very hard to build one united country. These mountains, which were like a cradle for Kurdish culture, also kept their different communities apart from each other. So, if the mountains made it hard to build a big central government, what filled that power gap? Tribes. For hundreds of years, the main way Kurdish society was set up was around a system of lords and tribes. This deep-rooted tribe system provided social order, but it was a big roadblock to forming a larger, united Kurdish group. Even though the tribe system was a source of power locally, it unintentionally weakened the steady, shared effort needed to build and keep a united Kurdish state. Now, when we say Kurds, we might think of them as one single group, but it's much more diverse than that. The Kurdish people are like a colorful mosaic made up of different dialects, religious beliefs, and ways of life. When it comes to language, there are several main dialects like Kurmanji, Sorani, Zaza, and Gorani. Most Kurds are Sunni Muslims, but there are also Alevi Kurds, Shia Kurds, and Yazidis. This religious variety meant that for a long time, religious identity was more important than, or competed with, just being ethnically Kurdish. This mix of language and religious differences made the job of creating a united Kurdish national feeling a huge task. For centuries, the Kurdish lands were stuck right in the middle of big rival empires, a very important area for strategy. The Kurds were caught in the middle of a tug-of-war between empires that lasted for hundreds of years. These empires often chose a divide and rule strategy or tried to win them over to their side. Kurdish leaders were given some local power to rule themselves in exchange for keeping the peace and providing soldiers, instead of helping an independent Kurdish state grow. This system turned the Kurds' military and political energy inward to serve the interests of the empires. Instead of being the builders of their own destiny, they became tools in the games of empires. The idea of a nation-state, a country for one people, really took off in Europe in the 1800s, and it eventually reached the Ottoman Empire. This wave of nationalism, this idea of wanting your own country, reached the Kurds relatively late, much later than their Turkish and Arab neighbors. The tough land, the tribal system, and religion being more important than ethnicity slowed down the spread of new ideas. Kurdish political awareness was still in its early stages of gathering around a united national idea. Kurdish nationalism finally starts to appear, and there are moments when an independent Kurdish state seems like it could actually happen. One of the most important of these was right after World War I, when the Ottoman Empire fell apart. In the Treaty of Sèvres in 1920, there was a part about an autonomous, possibly independent Kurdistan, but the Treaty of Sèvres was never fully put into action. And the Treaty of Lausanne in 1923 didn't mention Kurdistan at all. The Kurdish lands were divided between Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. Throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, outside powers supported Kurdish groups when it suited their own big picture plans, but this support was often pulled back, leaving the Kurds high and dry. Despite all these huge challenges, the Kurds made countless brave attempts to reach their goal of unity and self-rule. These were big uprisings and political movements, often led by inspiring leaders. Each attempt is a story of hope, struggle, and in the end, deep disappointment. Overwhelming military power from others, the pulling away of key outside help, and ongoing divisions among themselves weakened them from the inside. In the end, none of these attempts managed to create a lasting, recognized, independent and united Kurdish state. It's a history of almosts, so closes, and brave efforts that just couldn't overcome unfair situations. So, after all this, where do things stand? The Kurdish people don't lack history, culture, or a deep sense of who they are. Today, Kurds in the region and those living in other countries are more connected to each other, more politically aware, and more vocal about what they want. The dream of deciding their own future is still alive, maybe stronger than ever. The path to becoming a state isn't just about having a historical right or a strong wish. It's about a rare coming together of the right conditions at home, a united common will, and a world situation that isn't actively crushing them. Can the Kurds form an independent state? For now, we don't know for sure, but our wish, of course, is for them to live a life under the roof of justice and equality in the lands they live in. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day for now.